Hey, good afternoon. It looks like we're live, Justin. We are now on air officially.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us for our second LinkedIn Live. Today we're going to be taking a mini deep dive into how Web3 savvy brands like Nike and Dior are fully utilizing the new world of Web3 commerce. So Boson enables Web3 commerce easily and at scale. So we're going to jump in, look at a few prime examples. Justin and I are going to explore what they've done, how they've done it, and how you can do it with Boson. But quickly, Justin, I think before we start looking at those brand examples, I just want to hear directly from you, because you always explain it so brilliantly. Like in a very short format, what does Boson actually do in terms of like our redeemable NFTs and making those trustless transactions possible for buyers and sellers?
Sure. So what Boson does is really solve some of these hard problems that brands like Nike and some are spending, thousands and millions, solving. So enabling brands to tokenize any physical item or product, to tokenize that, so to represent it as like an NFT. So we call these things redeemable NFTs. You can think of them as like NFT vouchers. So to tokenize any physical thing as an NFT and then sell that everywhere across on your own website, drop it on NFT marketplaces, sell these NFT, redeemable NFTs in the metaverse. And then you're able to then bring the buyers back to your own website to redeem on your site. Plus, we enable things like token gating and the creation of digitals, so twinning a digital and a physical item. So lots of interesting functionality, which if you're in the know, yeah, I mean, it means a lot to people and is super powerful. But what we've recognized, Holly and I, especially talking to lots of brands, is that, yeah, people kind of want to understand, okay, well, what have other brands done? Yeah. Why have they done it? What's the benefits? And how might I do that myself? And so that's why we're sort of, we want to show rather than tell, and by having some of these sort of recipes for Web3 commerce sessions.
So should we get started with our first little mini reel, Justin? We've got 4 to share today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're sort of premiering some of these new commercials, really, like ads, little reels that we're going to be splashing across Twitter and socials, etc. So let me play the first one, and we'll kind of talk through as I go.
I love this LinkedIn Live though, Justin. I have to say it's one of my preferred formats. Mm-hmm. It's cool being able to like share videos, right? Like you can't actually do that on Twitter Spaces, for instance.
Yeah. Okay. So the example that we're using is the Artifact and Nike kind of crypto kicks digiphysical token gated sneaker drop.
And I remember, Justin, this was one of the prime examples that you shared with me when we first started talking about kind of like decentralized commerce. And yeah, one of the really cool things that is amazing about this project is that token gating feature that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. So this first reel, we're sort of talking about how you reward communities, and so Artifact already had this sort of NFT, which had been given to which some of their customers had, and so these NFT holders were incentivized to participate in these digiphysical quests. Oh, actually, sorry. I think I've got. This is the wrong. Apologies. This is the wrong.
Are we showing them out of sync, Justin? Is that what's happening?
I am. Yeah, that's all my fault. So this one. Could be this one.
And I should add, there's actually a very cool little soundtrack to these as well. So I'm guessing we will actually drop those on our Twitter later.
Yeah.
I could have added my own soundtrack over the top just for this talk.
Okay.
I think that was the one you wanted, the reward communities one.
Yeah, it's
I think we're good. I think even showing them out was think they actually.
Okay, we'll share that. Yeah, we'll share that. So this one was the sort of CryptoKicks NFT holders were incentivized to participate in these sort of digiphysical quests and events, but and so the reasons for this were by giving the NFT holders this sort of incentive to participate in these quests and events, the benefits were really engaging a Web3 community around some of these events. So what we see a lot of is giving special sort of token gated access to holders for physicals or events. I don't know, Holly, if you want to sort of talk a bit more, give a few more examples of that.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm repping the Adidas Web3 studio today, and you talked a little bit, Justin, about like rewarding holders at like live events. So for instance, any of the Web3 studio Adidas holders that were at NFT Paris would have been rewarded as they saw the team walking around with kind of like giveaways and merch. And I got an amazing pair of sneakers literally just sent to me like yesterday with the little Bored Ape on them. Absolutely love those. But I think I'm going to keep them in the box, Justin. Keep them box fresh.
Yeah, well, maybe you even resell them on Boson. Hey,
I totally could do that. After I've had them for a little while, or maybe I want to trade them so I get a bit of secondary before someone actually gets to redeem them. Maybe that's what I'm going to do.
Perfect. And so here, how would you do this as a brand? How would you do something like this yourself? Where, well, obviously you could go and spend, I think it was a couple of $100 million on Artifact, and they would help you no end, of course. Or hire a top end Web3 consultancy. But with Boson, we've just democratized access to that. So you can just really easily, bundle some of these sort of digital NFTs into the Boson redeemable NFT, which basically unlocks physicals. It can unlock other digital NFTs. It can unlock, access to events. So your Boson redeemable NFT can be thought of as a basket into which you can put these physical, digital, and experiential items, and then use this Boson mechanism to unlock those to reward and engage your community.
Yeah, now that bundle and that basket feature I think is super cool. I always kind of like think of it quite simply that you list a piece on Boson, but what you're actually doing is creating that digital voucher. And when your community, your consumer, your client comes to purchase the item, actually what they're doing really is unlocking that bundle or that basket. And it might literally be a pair of sneakers or a t-shirt, but it could be a pair of sneakers and the digital twin that I'm then going to wear in Roblox or wherever I'm going to wear it. So yeah, that bundle basket thing I think is really cool because it actually makes you kind of like think super creatively about how you want to engage your community as well. So like then the co-creation conversation becomes really live and like engaging further still. So yeah, that the redeem kind of element of that basket bundle I think is super cool.
Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next sort of feature that we're going to look at. Again, still in this Nike Crypto Kicks example.
I particularly loved that purple pair. I think there was like 3 pairs of those sneakers, and they came out, I think, just before VCon, like 2 years ago, I think. There was like a turquoise and white pair, but the purple ones are amazing.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. So this feature is kind of like rewarding existing communities. So you have the Artifact Lace Engine NFT, and the holders of this NFT, who are already kind of community members of Artifact, were given access to purchase these sort of limited edition physical sneakers, and they could purchase those at a sort of a more attractive price point than others. So
I think they got early access, Justin, right? Like that was the point of the Lace NFT.
Yeah.
Is they had to own the Lace NFT to even be able to stand a chance of getting the actual sneakers themselves. I thought that was super clever.
Yeah.
It was like
and so this is an example of sort of, I guess, programming, whereas previously, like in Web2, you'd have some sort of loyalty and access rules, but you'd probably have some sort of separate loyalty engine, separate mechanism for filtering customers. In Web3, it's programmable. You can program those rules into the underlying kind of technology NFT. And so some of the benefits here are as we've mentioned, rewarding these loyal Artifact sort of Web3 native community members with this sort of early access to an exclusive product. Yeah. So then on to how could you do this with Boson? So I mean, with Boson, this is like super easy. You could, I mean, the easiest way to do it is to set up your own Boson custom Web3 store. It takes literally minutes to do, and then you can quite easily implement token gating there, or so just list an existing NFT that you may have dropped to your community, and then only those community members will be able to make that sort of purchase. We've also enabled this now. We can now embed this within your own site. We can also offer this sort of token gated selling within a metaverse store, and perhaps Ollie can talk a little bit about what we're doing in the metaverse at the moment, or do an NFT drop on an NFT marketplace like OpenSea, again with token gating. So you can really kind of sell or offer these products everywhere with this kind of programmable token gating as well.
Yeah, the metaverse side, like Boson Boulevard in Decentraland is now live. We just launched last week with Metaverse Art Week, working with a brilliant gallerist, Argents, who's based in Paris, who listed, I think we have like something close to 30 pieces of artwork, Justin, that are now listed with Argents. And in Boson Boulevard, which is still live, you can go check it out. This like physical paintings, limited edition prints, photography by a really, really beautifully curated selection of artists that are across the globe. But yeah, I know we're kind of like talking about sneakers, but now I'm always like switching over to art. I can't help it. But I mean, I think that's where like some of these like creative conversations get really interesting. There is such a sort of a fine line between creativity and commerce. And what we've seen in the Web3 space is creators finding their own communities, creating this incredible group of token holders. So commerce is actually a very natural next step and a progression for a lot of these NFT projects and brands. And I think what Boson enables and provides is the tools, like you were saying, Justin. It's like super difficult to like have set any of this up yourself. I mean, But with Boson, like you said, I mean, it literally is like a couple of minutes. And at the moment, we're looking for different partners, like launch partners for different features that we're launching. I won't reveal too much because that's happening in a couple of weeks, but we are working with a few blue chip projects, which is very cool. So like that token gating feature, I think is going to become even more like interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, we're working on some really cool token gating projects where, you know, you're going to have tokens that are going to be used to create some sort of generative elements that are then going to plug into Boson to create a physical, and it's like, yeah, super cool. So we mustn't blurt there. I've got a bit.
I know, I was literally just holding my breath.
Just saying that to wind marketing up. I'm not going to blurt. Okay, so let's move on then to sort of this next you know, kind of objective, which is sort of driving revenue. So we mentioned that you get this early access and at a sort of a lower price point for these sort of loyal community members. What happened next was that any sneakers that hadn't been snapped up by this sort of core community of NFT holders were then available. I think they had some sort of raffle type mechanism for this long queue of people that were eager to get these exclusive items, and then these were sold at a full price. And so, you know, what you see here really, I mean, these are like super exclusive items and early access for the community, and then you know, generating strong revenues for you know, by then offering to, you know, the more sort of mass market there.
That's what I kind of find super exciting, is that opportunity to kind of like engage and cross-populate different audiences with these drops, because you know, that token gating feature is fantastic, but you can kind of actually like grow your audience and your community through using Boson as a tool as well, by cross-populating different kind of features. So yeah, there is so many different benefits, and it's like about creating like a unique journey, I think, for your community. And so like that's one of the things that I'm very keen to do on the business development side, is really like listen to communities and how they actually, you know, want to use Boson and what would actually be really fun and exciting for them. This is our chance to do commerce differently, right? You know, we're not trying to recreate a Web2 version of e-commerce that exists already. This is about doing something completely decentralized, rewriting the rules, and doing it with Web3 ideology.
Exactly. And to do this with Boson is even simpler than the previous example. You just simply create an open access Boson redeemable NFT, which allows anyone to purchase a physical product. And as we mentioned before, you can then plug that into the metaverse, drop it on OpenSea, or create a Web3 store using the Boson dApp, or even embed this into your own website flow.
I was going to say, we created a really amazing Web3 store for Black Paris that's really worth checking out. And the other one that we did recently worked on was the Chillheads Web3 store, which is very cool. They had some really nice pieces on there. But yeah, both really good examples. And I think the team here at Boson has been so brilliant at really guiding our users through the experience. But like you say, Justin, it genuinely is like crazy easy to use this technology. But the team is on hand to kind of like help people through the process too.
Okay, and so the final sort of benefit that we're going to look at really here is how Nike and Artifact sort of built a community with this sort of activation. So the feature is that these, you know, in real life sneakers are phygital. They come with a CryptoKicks NFT. And the real, you know, one of the real kind of benefits there is that, you know, by doing this, they're using a digital NFT attached to a physical product to really sort of build a Web3 community through tagging wallets and etc. I don't know, Holly, if you would like to add.
I was going to mention, for instance, like the new Dior sneaker that just got released. It was like very cool. It was part of the menswear collection. And it has an NFC chip in the right foot. And there's a series of this design of sneaker. There's a very one that I'm looking forward to. Actually, it might be out already. I'm just looking at the date. With Denim Tears, which is a really awesome label as a collab. But yeah, so what a lot of brands have been doing is connecting physical and digital using hardware. So like that NFC chip is actually hardware, where Boson provides a software solution, which is the thing that I think is brilliant. It's like the genius moment where actually it's the code that connects the physical product and the digital asset. So that's where Boson is totally unique in that aspect. But we can also work with like NFC chips and hardware solutions. But yeah, I love the fact that it's actually the code. It's like the code that connects the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, we're fully composable with whether it's like an NFC chip, if you want that additional functionality, or, you know, even sort of authenticity, sort of, you know, projects that might give you an NFT that verifies the authenticity of the physical, which that NFT again can be dropped into this basket. So we are kind of fully Web3 and composable. So how would you do this with Boson? Well, super easily. Let me let that my favorite animation run. Super easily, you just use the Boson DApp to pair a physical with a digital, create a phygital, and yeah, I mean, away you go. You get a redeemable NFT that when someone purchases and then redeems it, they get transferred a physical and a digital NFT into their wallet. So this sort of series of reels is yeah, something that we're going to be tweeting out and sort of putting on LinkedIn, etc., with a link to this webinar, hopefully to help. You know, what we see is a lot of brands and sellers are at that stage of awareness and curiosity. They'd really quite like to do something, but they don't know what the options are to do it. They don't really know what the benefits are, and they don't know how to do it. So we're sort of just trying to sort of help people get through, you know, some of these sort of barriers, and yeah, have fun and you know, drive business value with Web3 commerce.
It's about breaking it down, isn't it, to make these kind of like manageable chunks. But like I say, the thing, you know, that we do is really walk people through that process. So I would say, in terms of anyone out there that's excited or interested or wants to start using the protocol, probably the easiest way to connect with us is via Twitter, which is Boson Protocol, or LinkedIn, also Boson Protocol. My email is hollywood@bosonprotocol.io. So you're very welcome to reach me directly there. But yeah, this has been brilliant, Justin. Thank you so much for sharing our new Reels exclusive.
Thanks, Holly, and I hope this has sort of illuminated Web3 commerce for some of our audience.
See you next time. Thanks, Justin.